And I've titled this Do What I Do, or Do What I'm Doing. And it's a pretty high standard, but it's really the standard of Scripture for all of us. Do you know that somebody's supposed to be able to watch you? They're supposed to be able to watch me and basically do what we're doing attitudinally and in actionable action. They're supposed to actually be able to say, yeah, I'll follow that. I'll do that. Paul said it in 1 Corinthians 11:1, follow me as I follow Christ. He said it this way in a different translation. You must follow my example as I follow the example of Christ. Another one is this, imitate me just as I imitate Christ. And there's our color sheet for the day. Imitate me just as I imitate Christ. Now, people have said for years, don't look at me, look at Jesus. Don't look to me, look to Christ. And it's true. It's very true, but it's also very incomplete because supposedly, according to Paul, you're supposed to be able to follow Paul, who follows Christ, which means that because I'm a Christian like Paul, that in fact, I'm supposed to be able to say to everybody, follow me as I follow Christ. Now, I know I am not followable in every area of my life at every moment, every day, because I'm not Christ. But I'll tell you something right now. My intention is that you could follow me and you would not end up in a disordered situation. That's why I don't sleep with women if I'm not married, because that's called disordered. Yeah, it's just that kind of stuff. It's just down to that's why well, you can fill in the blank there. What's your thing? What's the thing that you would say, yeah, you can follow me everywhere, but don't follow me here in this area? If that is your intention, then you know as well as I do. Let's take a look at the color sheet because it's now colored too. There it is. Follow me or imitate me just as I imitate Christ. Here's why this kind of stuff just doesn't work by reading it alone. How you need to, as I said last week, portabilize it in your brain so you can internalize it in your heart. How many want to get to the place, and I hope you're headed there, I'm headed there, where I can say to everybody, imitate me just as I imitate Christ. Now, does imitate me mean that you imitate me culturally in every way? No. Does it mean you wear the same clothes that I wear? No. Does it mean you drive the same car or ride the same horse or, well, come on. You know it's not a cultural thing in that regard. It's about Genesis and about attitude. I say Genesis because Genesis is where we have the order of things. Genesis is where sex comes in marriage, not in any other form. I know we sound so mean. But I'm telling you right now, some of you Christians out there need to be arrested for disorderly conduct. Yeah, you claim Christ, but you're living with your boyfriend or girlfriend. You know what? You need to be charged with disorderly conduct. Don't give me this line that, oh, well, we're paying the rent together. Don't even show the appearance of evil. It's just, if you can't say, imitate me just as I imitate Christ, it's because you know you've got another agenda. You've got another plan. You've got another plan. You're going to choose to live a certain way. And you know what? Doggone it, do not imitate me here. Only imitate me maybe there. Can we imitate you in terms of church attendance? Like even in person? Oh, online, I get it. There's a place for that. But can I imitate you when it comes to forsaking not the assembling of ourselves together? Can I imitate you there? Listen, folks, I am not imitatable in every area of my life, but this is the scripture. This is the standard. You are supposed to be imitatable. You are supposed to be somebody that I can say, I can follow you. Now, you will not follow me culturally in every area. If you're from a different continent, you do things differently, you eat different foods. That's not what this is about. It's about being like Jesus. And that is a tall order for all of us. But thank God for a guy named Paul the Apostle, who had the guts to say in Philippians chapter 3:17, "Brethren, join in following my example, and note those who so walk, as you have us for a pattern." You have us for a pattern. You'll check out, and there will be a certain pattern to our lives. There will be a certain thing we do. There will be certain ways we live. There will be certain attitudes that we walk in. There will be certain actions we engage in. You are called to be followable. Now, there's a pretty famous guy online, and he is pretty impressive. He's a Christian. He calls himself a believer, and I believe he is. But he keeps saying, "Don't look. I'm not Jesus." And so he swears like a sailor, and he says, I'm not Jesus. Don't look to me. I'm like, bro, we got to look to you. If you claim Christ, I'm supposed to be able to say to you, I can follow you. And you're supposed to be able to say to me, follow me. All of us need to be followable. All of us need to be imitatable. Not in the clothes we wear, not in the food we enjoy, not in that early riser or late sleeper or a late riser, a late nighter. There's all kinds of room to be your own unique expression of how you do your life daily on a daily basis. But in terms of Genesis and attitudes that bring God's glory, you are called to be imitatable. That's what you're called to be. That's God's plan for your life. You do not need to walk in disorder. You need to walk in order. You need to not be disorganized in your faith venture. You need to be organized. There needs to be order in your relationship and in your walk with God. So, pretty cool scripture, eh? I love it. There it is right there. Imitate me just as I imitate Christ. And as I said last week, folks, you cannot simply read this stuff. You must eat this stuff. You must eat this stuff. You have to eat it. You have to, thy words were found, O Lord, and I did eat them, and they were unto me the joy and rejoicing of my heart. Now I'll end with this little example. I remember when I was 14 years of age, on fire for God, and I was a counselor in training at a camp, and a lady was ahead of me in the cafeteria line. And I had my tray with my food, and she had her tray, and she was an older lady, and I was 14. And she stole my food. She took my plate right off my tray, and she looked at me to see what I would do after she stole my food. And she said, I did that to find out how you would react. And that day I must have been walking close to Jesus because I reacted with a positive control. I acted with prudence. I acted I didn't react. I simply responded. And she said, you passed the test. I'll never forget that. I'm thinking of it right now, 50 years later. Oh, unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I know the only reason I had that response that day was because I was spending enough time with Christ and in communion with the Lord that I started to become imitatable, that I became followable, that I became like Jesus. And you know what? Jesus would never sleep with his girlfriend. He never had one. I get it. But he never would do it. Hey, you need to be followable. You need to be followable in the right way. So there it is, folks. Imitate me just as I imitate Christ. Pretty cool God word art, eh? Have a great